A few years ago, I reviewed Project Gotham Racing 3, a launch title for Xbox 360, and I walked away extremely impressed with Bizarre's next-gen continuation of the franchise. Although the driving controls felt stiff by today's standards, the overall pacing of the game was just excellent and extremely rewarding as well, with visuals that just pushed the envelope and delivered an appreciable boost in next generation detail at the time. Today, however, I'm going to be reviewing the fourth and final entry in the PGR series. Sadly, this one was the last outing for Bizarre's acclaimed racer, and you gotta wonder if Microsoft, who published this franchise, possibly made the decision behind the scenes to just forgo any additional PGR games, instead opting to focus on building up the Forza Motorsport series. Regardless of what may have happened there, I walked away playing PGR 4 very impressed once again and extremely satisfied, just as I did with PGR 3, but in actuality, I believe this game is even more impressive and much better than what the third game really offered. I think on the whole, PGR4 delivers its final package here with just a ton of content and the inclusion of different vehicles and twists on the gameplay. So based off my personal experience, having not played the original Xbox games, I have to say I enjoyed this one the best so far. Now, contrary to the norm, I'm actually going to start with the graphics this time around because this game just looks absolutely gorgeous even after all these years later. You can really tell Bizarre put everything they could into optimizing the engine and pushing the visuals beyond what was already a good looking game with the third outing. The third game was a really great showcase for the launch of the Xbox 360. Just being a graphical powerhouse for the next generation racers at the time. But with PGR4, every complaint I had visually about the third game has just been addressed here, and what we have on offer is a game that still stands tall, I think, as being one of the better looking games of the generation, and even possibly at times looking near 8th gen quality. For one, they increased the detail of the cars exponentially. Now, this is something I criticized in PGR3, as you could see a bit of the limitations in that game. Sometimes the tail lights look like 2D stickers on vehicles, and there were some pretty noticeable polygonal edges on certain objects. But that is not the case anymore with PGR4. All of the cars here look incredible. The detail is just a step beyond that launch Xbox 360 title, and in addition to this, the lighting just looks impeccable. It's astonishing. As you race past opponents hitting speeds easily over 100 miles an hour, you just get this really nice filmic motion blur, and the environments, the reflections on the cars, all of it just pulls you into an experience here that just looks incredible in motion. I have literally no complaints with the visuals. I think as a 7th gen game, it's one of the best looking titles out there. But even by today's standards, you can play this game and just see immediately how impressive it looks. Perhaps my only real complaint isn't with the game, it's with Microsoft. PGR4 is not backwards compatible on the Series X, and this means you need an original Xbox 360 to experience this game. And when you look at all of the games enhanced on Series X, either with frame rate or resolution boosts, you can just imagine that if this game was given that same treatment, it could easily pass for an Xbox One game. I'm impressed, and I just wish it got more recognition. Perhaps Microsoft, if they were able to renew the licenses for music in order to get this game back on the storefront. That's usually the culprit for why a lot of these games just cease to exist. But unfortunately, you do need original hardware to experience this great game. Now, I also want to talk about sound design. All of the cars here just sound appropriate for their real-life counterparts. They did an excellent job, and while it's no grid where the engines just scream at you with this incredible force, there's just good response and ambience from the way the engines sound. If you're racing in the city tracks, you hear just the echoing of the engine bouncing off the buildings, and the same goes for tunnels, and they kind of balance the audio out with just excellent licensed music as well. So it's just one of those games that you can get easily sucked into while playing. You can just lose yourself for a couple of hours because the game is so engaging, but at the same time, it's relaxing, and again, the visuals here just kind of keep your eyes locked on the experience no matter what is happening. And of course, we need to take a look at the PGR4 box art. I do like the simplicity of the cover for this one. Not much to look at, but you see the reflection of the motorbike and stuff like that. And of course, the only on Xbox 360 branding. So that's pretty nice. Decent look at the spine there, pretty standard. And then on the back, we got a couple different screenshots showing off just the beautiful visuals on offer and then talking about all the different modes and whatnot. So yeah, that's really cool to see, just like all the artwork and the selection of screenshots that they showcased for this one. Now, opening it up here, we got a really nice clean copy of the original game disc here, and just everything handled perfectly fine. I installed this game to my hard drive as well, so yeah, everything was running smoothly there. Now, the manual here is just perfect. It's exactly what you'd want from a manual of this era. It's in full color, and not only that, but they got full 2-page artwork and screenshots. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, yeah, look at that. Look at the controls. 2-page there, the full game screen. Everything is easily clear, legible. I love the color scheme as well. It's just all, thematic. And they just do a great job just structuring this manual and giving you all the information you could possibly want about the racer itself. So yeah, I quite enjoyed kind of flipping through this and having this version of the game, this original copy. It's just great. So yeah, cool look at the PGR4 box art there. Again, I like the cover art for this one, a bit simple, but it gets the job done and great presentation overall. Now, let's talk about the actual game itself. PGR4 builds on the foundation of the third game and follows a structure more similarly in line to its predecessor. You basically earn reputation points. Now, these are called kudos, and this permits you to partake in different events and races. And you're going through this game's career mode, and you have to get a certain ranking or placement in order to keep your kudos level up. What I like about this system is that you're allowed to lose some as long as you win some. This isn't one of those racers that makes the mistake of forcing you to get first place in every single event on offer. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to have a difficult time. As long as you have enough points, you can progress to the next stage of the game. I can't even begin to acknowledge what a relief on frustration this system is. And it really helps this game not feel outdated. It keeps you focused on having fun with it no matter what is happening. Now, if you never played the PGR series before, this is an arcade track racer. It's not at all a simulation, and the cars handle a lot more responsively than some of the other racers around this time. New to this particular entry is the inclusion of bikes. Previously, sports cars and hypercars were really the main attraction here, but with this last outing, they added motorbikes, which I gotta say handle quite differently and are extremely fun, especially if you use the cockpit view. There's just an intensity to the way you race bikes, probably enhanced even more so thanks to the detail levels on offer here. What I like about this game is that it's a digestible experience. This game does not overwhelm you with content, but at the same time, there's just enough here to get you playing the game for a decent while. But it just never overstays its welcome. It always allows you to sort of progress at your own pace. And there's a good number of cars in here. Worth noting that you won't find some of the smaller, lesser vehicles like in a simulator. It's more about, racing cars on racing tracks, but what's here is just so good, and I must say I sorely miss this franchise in today's world. I think many would probably consider Grid to be the spiritual successor to that of PGR. Grid is a much more intense racer and feels different to play, but it is similarly structured where reputation matters and it's just a track-based racer, graphics are prioritized, and so on. Overall, PGR4 is an excellent racing game and just a swan song goodbye to this series from Bizarre. After this last outing from PGR, they would go on to create the game Blur, which I remember playing the beta of back in the day. I'll have to re-review that on the channel because I don't remember actually liking it that much. But if you have yourself an Xbox 360, this is one of those titles that just demands that you own it for the platform. And sadly, it's a racer that's all but forgotten these days. Perhaps its legacy, though, can still be felt in racers today. So let me know if any of you played PGR4, what do you think of it? And I'll catch you guys in the next Reminiscing video. Thank you very much.